The Christmas Mansion, written by Richard Mully. Chapter 1, Lucy in Disguise. Once there was a lonely teenage girl by the name of Lucy. Lucy lived in an old, run-down, scary-looking mansion on a hill separate from the town. She had 4 friends who were considered the beauty queens from school. They were all about 13 years of age. They loved to hurt Lucy and call her names because she would dress so bad. She was also clumsy. Being bigger than the 4, she thought, with her size and forcefulness, she could force them to be her friends. They became her friends out of fear of her, but deep down they really did not care for her. The 4 girls, Mary Jane, Olga, Jessica, and Gayla, had never been invited to Lucy's house. Lucy was ashamed of the place where she lived because it looked so run down, and they really did not want to go there anyway because it was so scary from a distance. Even the townspeople would say that they lived in a dumpy and probably a haunted place. One day, the 4 girls got together and talked about going up to Lucy's house without her even knowing. They talked about it a lot, and the more they did, the more frightened they became, thinking it was such a scary place. They talked and talked about it, but had little courage to be bold enough to go to Lucy's scary house. They then made a pact and said they would meet on the night before Christmas and see what the mansion was really like. As each day went by, the 4 girls became more and more afraid of what was before them. In the meantime, Lucy suspected that they were up to something because they would stop talking when she would come around and just make small talk and giggle. The girls would then look at each other and make faces, thinking Lucy would not understand. Lucy had thought to ask them over for Christmas, but decided not to because she knew something was up. She started to think that the pain of this kind of friendship was not really worth it. Christmas vacation came, and it was only a couple of days before Christmas Eve. As all 5 girls parted, they said they would see each other after the vacation was over. As Lucy was walking away to go home, she saw out of the corner of her eye that the other girls were whispering. Now she knew for sure something was up. What could it be, she thought. The 4 girls talked one more time and had agreed to meet at midnight on Christmas Eve, at the mansion, of course. They all thought it was so late, but it was the best time to see how scary the place really was, and Lucy would be asleep anyway, along with her parents. They all agreed they should take naps, though, before they would meet also, and they did. Chapter 2, The Dream. The town was all decorated with Christmas lights. All the houses were decorated except for Lucy's. The townspeople said that Lucy and her father didn't really believe in Christmas. That, they thought, was a reason for no decorations. And why would someone decorate such a shabby house anyhow? The night finally came when the girls were to gather to go to Lucy's house. The girls all took long naps, but they all dreamed dreams. These were their dreams. The girls met at the bottom of the hill of Lucy's house. They looked at each other, trembling, and Olga said to the others with her voice trembling, Are you guys ready? The girls' eyes got real big, and they replied, Yes. Okay, here goes, replied Olga. They all started up the path to the mansion. They all turned around halfway up the hill to see how beautiful the town looked, all lit up for Christmas. And Gayla said, It is really scary to see that Lucy's house is the only one in town that is not decorated with Christmas lights. So the dream went on. The mansion was a dark gray color, and it was evident that it needed a paint job really bad. The face of the mansion looked like the face of a sad old person in pain. The 2 upper windows looked like dim-lit eyes, and the overhang over the front door looked like a nose, and then the front door was real wide like a mouth. The roof had vines that hung down from it, and it made it look like scraggly hair. Even the shutters on each side of the upper windows had flapped in the breeze, and they looked just like ears. The face of the mansion looked very sad, and if one could imagine, if provoked, could say something angry at any given time. So in the dream, when they got to the front door, they were about to knock when they saw an engraved sign that said, If you must trespass, use the side door. Olga said, What a strange thing to put on your front door. The other girls nodded as their eyes got bigger and bigger. They all thought, What have we gotten ourselves into? Olga then said, "What we started, we have to finish." They all agreed and said, trembling, "Yes." They then walked around to the side door. Little did they know, Lucy had seen them afar off, approaching her house. She had never had company in her life. She lived all alone with her father, who was sick most of the time. Her mother had died just before Christmas last year. She had felt very sad and tried not to be bitter at the world because her friends had mothers and she did not. She could see them, but they could not see her. The four girls came to the side door and knocked. To their amazement, the door opened, but no one came to greet them. The four girls peeked inside the door and saw that it was very dimly lit. They slowly pushed the creaking door aside, and they entered into a small round room with a hallway. The four of them went into the house, single file, and looked at the room and its walls that were very ornate with carved wood panels. Over the woodwork were paintings of flowers and vines. The room was so beautiful. It looked like they were in a private gazebo. It looked as if they were looking out at a dimly lit garden, though. A whirlwind came up, and the door slammed shut. The girls screamed. They looked at each other in horror. They ran for the door, but the lights went out, and the door was not to be found. They all cried, "My God, what have we done?" And the dream went on. In the darkness, their imaginations made their heads spin as they tried to figure out where they were and how they could get out. Then they called out to each other. They could hear each other, but they were now separated from each other in this deep darkness. Olga cried out to the three girls, "Girls!" And they all replied, "We are here, but we do not know where each of us is in this room." Olga said, "Let's all go to the wall. I will stand still, and you guys move to the left until we meet each other, and then we can figure out what to do." The girls replied, "Okay." Mary Jane started to move to her left. She felt a knob on the wall. She went to pull on it, and a panel of the room opened and then shut, and she was gone. Olga cried, "What was that?" The other two girls said, "We don't know." Olga said to Mary Jane, "Are you okay, Mary Jane?" There was no reply. Olga then cried, "Oh my God, where are you, Mary Jane?" Mary Jane had disappeared. Olga then cried out to the other two girls to come quickly. They said, "We are coming towards you, just stand still." As they moved towards Olga, Gayla felt the wall and found a doorknob too. Gayla cried out, "Hey girls, I just found a doorknob. This must be the way." And then there was silence. Gayla was now gone. Olga cried out, "Jessica, are you still here?" Jessica started to cry and said, "Yes, but what is going on? Am I getting closer to you?" It sounds like it, Jessica, cried Olga. "Keep coming," said Olga. "I'm trying, Olga. Can you put out your arms to touch me?" asked Jessica. "Yes, I will," said Olga. I think I'm getting closer to you." Then there was silence. The silence was deafening for Olga. Jessica, are you gone too?" There was no reply. Just then a light came on in the hallway. At the end of the hallway was a door. She trembled as she walked slowly to the door. On the door there was her name, Olga. "I must be going mad," thought Olga. Olga slowly walked to the door and knocked. There was no answer. She then opened the door, walked into a bright room, and the door shut, then locked itself. Olga, now terrified, walked to the center of the room and looked around. She saw large pictures of herself from the time she was born, then through her childhood, then up until she was now 13. The pictures created a panorama of her life story, and then there was a canvas that had 4 words on it that said, "What should I become?" Olga studied the whole room and saw her different moods in each picture. She saw herself when she was angry, happy, sad, jealous, and mean. She saw a pattern that the older she got, the meaner she had become. A voice from within the room then spoke to her. "You will be set free when you see what you have become and become willing to become what you should be. Until then, you will stay in this place. I have put all of you girls in separate rooms and in the same predicament so you can see yourselves. All of you came to see Lucy with deceitful and conniving hearts, scheming together, thinking that you thought you knew who she really was and what she was all about. You had better hope and pray that you will understand what you have imagined, what all of you have become." Then there was a dead silence. Each moment that went by seemed like a long, long day as thoughts of amazement went through Olga's head. As each minute went by, though, the light got dimmer and dimmer. The more she thought about who she was, the darker the room became. Then the unthinkable came. It was now dark and silent. The images of what she saw were now ablaze in her mind. She then began to weep and then said, "Oh my God, forgive me for the way I have carried on. I need to become the person you, God, desire me to be and no longer deceive or hurt anyone's feelings again. I need your help, though. If you are a God and you are love, please teach me so I can learn to become a better person." Just then, a light came on and a joy came upon her. Olga awoke and realized she had just had a vivid dream. Chapter 3, The Mansion. That night, at midnight, the girls met at the bottom of the hill. Olga had told the girls about the dream she had. The other girls replied with amazement, "We all had the same kind of dream." Gayla said, "I heard that if the same vivid dream is given twice, it is really important. This one was given to us 4 times, to each of us." Mary Jane then said, "My father said that the number 4 meant a created truth. It seems that God is trying to teach us a truth here." Jessica's eyes got real big and she said, "I think we better learn from these dreams." Then the girls walked quietly up the hill, thinking about what they had all experienced. They got to the mansion and knocked on the door in the moonlit night. An outside light came on, and there was a sign on the door that said, "Welcome, friends." They looked at each other in amazement. They thought about their dreams and expected to see something else on the door. Lucy opened the door. To their surprise, the whole house was lit up with sparkling lights and a Christmas tree whose boughs seemed to wave at them to come closer. There was a Christmas song being played in the background whose words were, come home, it's Christmas time. It's time that hearts should seek to rhyme. The thoughts in us will be of love, because God's gift came from above." They looked at each other, and then they all sat down around the tree. The fireplace was lit, and they watched as the flames danced to the sound of the music upon the logs. Lucy looked at each of the girls and said, "I am so honored that you would come and visit me this Christmas. My mother died just before Christmas last year. I did not know how I would be able to endure a Christmas alone. My father's not doing well either. Oh, here he is now. This is my father, Richard." Richard means a ruler that loves. He had a lot of faith that this would become a very special Christmas. Lucy's father walked into the room, bowed and smiled at the girls. He then spoke with a kind voice that said, "This is the greatest Christmas present we could ever get, to have true friends come to comfort us in this most difficult time." The girls looked at each other in awe. Olga turned and whispered to the others, "Does that voice sound familiar to you?" They all nodded. Olga then asked Lucy's father, "Do you have a side door to this house?" He replied, "No, we do not. We only have a front door. Why do you ask?" Olga replied, "Never mind." Lucy piped up and said, "Why don't we have a bite to eat? For some reason I prepared some very special foods, not even knowing we would have friends to stop by. Something told me to prepare for a celebration." Chapter 4, The Dream Soda. They all went to the dining room, and they saw 6 places set. The girls looked at one another again in amazement. They all slowly sat down. There were all kinds of good food and a large ornate bottle of drink in the middle of the table. The label on it said, "Dream Soda." The girls cried, "Well, what is Dream Soda?" Richard just smiled as he filled the wine glasses with the soda. The wine glasses glowed when they were full. The aroma from the soda was like sweet incense that mesmerized the girls. He then spoke after all the glasses were filled. "This is a very special drink that I make for special friends and for special occasions. It has a very unique flavor. It takes on its own flavor according to each person's personality. Some have said it tastes like truth serum, whatever that tastes like. Richard smiled and then laughed. He then raised his glass and said, "I propose a toast to all of you who have become true friends and because you have desired to love one another when it is needed most." Each of the girls thought within themselves, "Where have we heard that voice before?" They then shrugged their shoulders and decided to just enjoy the moment. They all ate and made merry on this most special Christmas day. They all thought it was the most special Christmas ever, a Christmas they would never forget. The girls then prepared to leave Lucy and her father. They had such great joy in their hearts. They all hugged each other and said this was the best Christmas ever because they could give of themselves to each other. The four girls waved goodbye as they walked down the path. They then turned to one another and said, "We will not be the same persons we were after today." This was a day that was really scary at first, but we did not realize that we were too afraid to show Lucy love so we could become true friends. We should be so glad that we had enough courage to overcome our fears and become what we are really desiring to become. They then smiled at each other and said, "Thank God for such a great day." The girls got to the bottom of the hill, looked back, and the house was now aglow with a great light from above. A voice then spoke to each of them. "Man looks on the outside of a person, but God looks on the heart. What may appear beautiful on the outside may need to be beautified on the inside. This is what life is all about. Loving one another. This is my greatest gift to you, mankind. It is love. Merry Christmas. The end to a new beginning." May all of your Christmases from this Christmas on be better and greater than the one before as we grow and love one another like never before. Merry Christmas, and Jesus is the reason for this season. Thank God for Jesus and the love he showed us.